Hello, I want to welcome my podcast listeners as well as my YouTube viewers. Thank you for listening and tuning in. Today, I want to discuss thoughts turning to things. So as we know, the law of attraction, the universal law, states that whatever is like unto itself is drawn, like attracts like. So when we think about our thoughts turning to things, and many of you probably in the law of attraction community has heard that terminology, that phrase, thoughts turning to things. And it's like, what does that mean? Well, thoughts turning to things means that which you imagine, think about, word, whatever it is, it turns into an experience. It turns into something that you physically experience in your life. And whatever you give your attention to, whatever you focus on, especially strongly or with no resistance, it will appear in your life. And so when you think about thoughts turning to things, and we say that every like energy, every thought is energy. Everything is energy, not just thoughts. All things are energy. But when we say that, it's that thoughts turning to things is, look at just practical things like the furniture in your house, the car you drive, the house you live in, the clothes that you wear. That was first a thought in someone's mind. That was first someone imagined it, and then it came to be. And so when we take that into the spiritual realm and we think about it, well, we say that we are the imagination of the all, source, God, energy, however you want to label it. That's what we are. We are an idea of, and we became human beings. God imagined himself into man. He created us in his image and likeness. And clearly that does not mean the flesh part. It means the spiritual part, the part that you don't see, because out of the invisible came the visible. So everything first starts off as energy. Everything is energy. So your thoughts being energy, that what you think about will manifest into your physical realm. And the glorious part about that is that we don't have to figure out how that's going to manifest. We don't have to think about how it's going to come into being, and that's whether it's something that we want or we don't want. I know a lot of times we talk about quote unquote negative things happening, or contrast or wanted, which are the words I prefer to use as opposed to negativity. As I probably stated before, or if I haven't, then negatively, when you label it negativity, it tends to lean towards judgment, and you're kind of judging things that go on in your life, as opposed to just it's something that happened, something you experienced, and you want to know what can you gain, what information, what clarity can it bring to your life. So when you start to look from that vantage point and you start to look at it in that light, a lot of the things that we experience won't have such an emotional deterrent to continue on or to believe that what we desire will become manifested in our lives. And once you start to realize that your thoughts turn into experience or turn to things, you'll learn to want to gather more control. It makes you feel empowered once you realize that your thoughts, your beliefs, whatever that is, whether it's something that you truly desire to experience or whether it's something that you choose not to, and you want to know, like, why is this happening? Why do I continue to experience the same things over and over again? And, it's because that's what we focus on. And I know a lot of times we'll say, well, I wasn't focusing on a car accident, right? Like, that's something that we would deem negative that happened in our life. I was not focusing on that, but it could have been low vibrational energy that you were putting out to the universe. As I stated before, we are vibrational beings, we're energetic beings, and we're always broadcasting out into the universe. We have high frequency, low frequency. So if you're, just having quote unquote a really bad day, and you're thinking real negative thoughts, you're thinking like, nothing ever happens good for me, everything is always so horrible, I never get, I always have bad luck, And then that's what you're focusing on. And since the law is impersonal in no respect of persons, and that's what you continue to put your thought on, it manifests maybe in a car accident, or it could be any other thing. You know, I'm just using that as an example. It could manifest in another experience in which you deem already to be quote unquote negative or low vibrating energy. And, you know, because, you know, that energy was going out into the universe, it had to find a match. And that was a match that would come because, you know, you keep thinking negative things are going to happen. And when you keep thinking, you know, negative things or things don't work out for you and things are always, you know, seem to get the short end of the stick, you continue to experience a lot of that because that's where you're vibrating. That's where your mind is. That's where your energy is. That's where, you know, energy goes, you know, energy flows where attention goes. Whatever you're giving your energy to, whatever you're giving your attention to, whatever thoughts you are thinking, they're turning into experiences that you may not, you know, want to experience. Now, you can take the flip side of that, and you can also have brought that. It's all about perception. Let me back up. So it's all about perception, because you could have a car accident and you don't view it as negative. You know, it could be a car that, you know, that was giving you trouble anyway, and you didn't know how you were going to, you know, get into a new one. And so this happened, and you know, it was that person's fault, you know, by the law. And, you know, you are now given, you know, maybe it was totaled or something, and something good ended up coming out of it. And it's all based on your response to the accident. So we can take anything in our lives and turn it out to be something good, you know, if we would change our perception. If we realize that we are the first cause, the reason why you experience it is because you drew it into your experience. And if you have the foundation, if you realize that all things work together for my good, you know, everything is always working out for me. All is well. It doesn't matter what it is, what's going on, you know, it will happen for you. And I'll give you a case in point. So my middle child, she's turned 16, and my husband and I are looking to buy her a car, you know, paying cash. We went to the dealership over the weekend, and we purchased a car, you know, cash. And so when you purchase a car cash as is basically, that's the car. Like, you're responsible for anything that happens with the car. They don't do, you know, there's no returns. There's no, you know, I changed my mind, I want to take it back. Well, during that time, over the weekend, we only drove the car a day. We were going to, my husband was going to pick my daughter up from work, and the car, he said the transmission went out. The car will only start going in reverse. We're going to hear the car a day. So we're, you know, looking on, you know, while I'm researching on the internet about, you know, because we're thinking, okay, you bought the car, it should be a 3-day rule, 3-day rescission period, you know, where you get to look over the car. But used cars don't get that 3-day rescission period. But there is a law that says that, you know, within 15 days, if the powertrain, which includes the transmission, the engine, and other parts under the hood, if those things go out, the dealership is required by law to fix it. They get 2 times to fix it. Well, we didn't want the car anymore. We're only here the day, and that happened. We wanted, you know, our money back. And initially, the car dealership was saying, you know, we don't do returns, you know, we'll fix it, we'll, you know, send it to a transmission place, and they'll put a new transmission in, and we'll, you know, fix the car for you, because we don't do returns. And my husband and I were like, no, we're believing that we're going to get our money back, and, you know, they're going to take the car and they're going to do whatever they're going to do with the car, and, you know, still fix the transmission, probably resell it to somewhere else. Well, we didn't want to have a rebuilt transmission, or a transmission that's, you know, we don't know if it's going to be actually a new transmission, or it's going to be a transmission that maybe they get from a junkyard. Like, we don't know what type of transmission it's going to be in. And the fact that we only had it a day, we didn't want to, you know, take that chances. And we just believed that we would get our money back. And so what ended up happening, they gave us 3 options. You know, they'll change out the transmission. We have a new transmission, car running good, or we could take the money that we pay cash for and use it towards another car in their dealership, or they'll refund us the money less the docking fee, which was $300. We took C. We wanted, we end up getting, majority of our money back, like 97% of our money back. We got a great percentage, we were like, $300, but to get majority of our money back and then go and look for a car and believe that we'll find one in working condition. And we believed that this would happen. We didn't try to figure out how it was going to happen. We saw us getting our money back, and so we did. And so those were thoughts that turned into an experience, and it turned out to be a good experience. So with that being said, I just want to give you all an example and give you encouragement to know that, things always work out for us. If we just have the good energy, the good thing to say that no matter what goes on, things always works out in our favor. Now maybe we could have, had a whole different take on that experience and had low vibrating energy, and we may have been stuck with the car. But because we didn't care what the law said, we said what we wanted, and we believed that we could have it, and so then that's what we experienced. And so that experience just showed me that maybe we need to be more specific about what we want going looking for a car for our daughter. Say exactly what it is that we want, and then just know that that's going to happen. And then if it goes some other way, we still know it's going to work out. We know that we're going to find a car, low mileage, in good condition, and it's going to, last 4, 5, 6 years down the road, however long it's going to last for. But that was just giving you an example of how thoughts turn to things, that we create our own reality, that the law of attraction is no respecter of person, that it isn't something you practice, it's something that is. And once you realize how this law works, you can have it work for you, more consciously. A lot of times we experience things, we manifest things unconsciously. We experience things by happenstance. We sometimes look up on good things. But if you want to experience the more good things in your life, you want to experience more wonderful things, you want the universe to show you that your thoughts create your reality. And if you change the way you think, then you'll start to experience more of the things you want to experience in your reality. But it's all on you. It's all about you changing the way you think, you harnessing that energy, and no matter what happens, that you always have a good perspective on it, that you don't blame others for your experience, that you don't blame others for what's going on in your life, because that's disempowering. You are a powerful being. We are powerful beings. We can create reality based on our imagination. We can ask for a thing, believe that we have received it, know that it's coming, don't care about how it happens, and just allow it to come in to your experience. And so that's just a wonderful thing to come into awareness of. And I am so grateful and thankful that I came into this awareness, that gives me more power, that says that I can have, do, and be whatever I desire. All I have to do is believe it. And who we call mystics, gurus, spiritual teachers, the Bible, all sacred texts, that's what they're constantly telling us, reminding us that we are the creators of our universe. That doesn't mean that I try to impose my will on others. That means that I think lovely things of others just as I would of myself. That if I send out good vibrations and good things about another, that has to return to me 100-fold. Well, I know the Bible says 36 to 100-fold. If you give, you will receive that which you give out. So if you're giving out low vibration frequencies, which is negativity, disappointment, overwhelmment, discouragement, depression, sadness, if that's what you're vibrating most of the time, then that's what you're going to experience most of the time. Now, this is not saying that, sometimes, there is a time to mourn, there is a time to cry, there is a time for joy, there's a time for everything. But it's about how long you allow those low vibration energies to last, as long as you don't let it overtake you. You don't sit in it. You know, yes, if you suffer the loss of a loved one, they have made their transition out of the physical realm, yes, there's a time to, you know, mourn their absence, not having them around with you. Yes, that, you know, that's normal. But as long as you don't feel like your life can't go on because they're no longer here, you know, they will want you to eventually start to remember the good times, remember how they impacted your life, how, you know, and know that, you know, they're no longer in the physical, and that's okay, that they had the length of time they had here in this physical world, and now it's time to transition and do whatever else they're going to do, but to remember the good times here in the physical body. So again, like I said, you know, thoughts turning to things is your word, your idea, your imagination, you seeing yourself doing something and being positively thinking about it, it will come. And if you're thinking about negatively, that's going to happen too, you know. But if the thing that you deem negative, unwanted, or contrast, however you want to label it, if you can get a different perspective on it, if you can say, you know what, this happened, because law of attraction says that which is like unto itself is drawn, like attracts like, I am vibrating frequencies out into the universe, and it's coming back to me. So I drew that experience in, you know, unto myself. So, you know, if it's something that I wasn't expecting, or it was contrast, it was something wanted, then I say, okay, what can I learn from it? I can rewrite it, I can do a revision, I can think more lovely thoughts, more just thoughts, and know within myself that something good is going to come out of this situation. Either I'm getting more clarity of what I do want, you know, or what, you know, just being positive about whatever happens to you, being thankful, being grateful, being appreciative. That just makes things go so much smoother in life than to have the woe is me, the victim, you know, why is this happening to me? Why can't I seem to get things, you know, the way I want it? That energy will allow you to stay in it longer, and maybe to experience even more unwanted things, because that's the energy, that's the frequency in which you're vibrating. So by knowing that, you know, you have control over your own thoughts, you have control over, you know, no one else can think your thoughts, as Abraham Hicks says. You are the one thinking your thoughts. So your thoughts are turning to things. And so, as the Bible says, you know, finally, my brethren, you know, I don't know, can't remember the scripture verbatim, but, you know, whatever things are lovely, whatever things are just, if there be any praise, if there be any virtue, think on these things. Think more lovely thoughts. Think lovely thoughts of people that you may want to think, you know, not so great things about. But if you're thinking not so great things about people, and 9 times out of 10, well, 10 times out of 10, people are not thinking so great things about you, because you are the operant power. You are sending out vibration out into the universe. And so that which energy you're giving, expect to get it back. Expect to get it back until you start to learn how to have more control over your thoughts. And there are different processes out there to help you to start having more control. You know, you got meditation, you know, it's scripting, it's so many things out there. And I don't really want to be the one to tell people what they should do or shouldn't do. That's a discovery you have to, that's the path you have to find. That's something that you have to discover, you know, what works for you, what gets you in that high vibrating feeling, what brings you joy, you know, because what brings you joy may not necessarily bring me joy. You know, I know meditation is key for everyone, because scripture talks about it in the Bible. You know, many spiritual teachers, you know, quiet in mind, getting by yourself, giving time to yourself, getting alone and doing some reflection of who you are, doing a little deep diving. I know that works, but there are so many different ways to meditate. You know, you have chanting, you have, you know, transcendental meditation, you have, you know, what they call mindfulness. You know, it's just, you have to figure out what works for you, because it's all about you. It's all about you. So once you start learning you, then you know what will be, or what it will take for you to start thinking more lovely things, to start thinking more beautiful things, start seeing the goodness in everything, start seeing the beauty in everything. Now, like I said, I can give suggestions, you know, and then you figure out, you know, well, maybe that doesn't work so much for me. Maybe I'll try this, or, you know, that. And your inner being, your higher self will let you know what works for you individually, because this walk is individual. Yes, we're all in this together. Yes, we're all interconnected, but no one can think your thoughts for you. Only you can think your thoughts for you. You know, other people can have an influence on you. Other people can, you know, encourage you, uplift you, and, you know, help you find the way. But when it's all said and done, this walk, this path, this spiritual journey is all on you. So, yeah, with that being said, as far as thoughts turn to things, and, you know, it can be so much said about that. And of course, we'll dive deeper into that later on. It'll tie into other, you know, principles that go along with law of attraction, that being one of the key principles, that your thoughts create your reality. So I do want to thank you guys for, again, giving me your time and your energy. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. You know, hopefully this new way of doing things, because I'm recording a podcast and doing a YouTube channel at the same time. So hopefully, you know, you guys got a really good understanding of how to, you know, have more happier manifestations, you know, experience the reason why we came here, which is for joy, freedom, and growth, and to, you know, have fun while doing it. So thank you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Continue to have a great day.